Everybody ready?
Yes.
Everybody.
We must be one.
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 Welcome to the Hughes Roundtable.
Everybody.
I'm Michaela.
I'm Nina.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Michael Hughes.
So today I'm here with a friend of mine from college, and it's Dan Monnin. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Michaela.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
So today we're just going to talk a little bit about your college experience, and we can reminisce a little bit, and also just transitioning to having a career and all the responsibility and joy that comes with that. So can you tell us a little bit about just growing up and how you ended up at Mount Vernon Nazarene University?
So I grew up in a small town of Piqua, Ohio, about 20 minutes south of Dayton. And the middle of three kids. I have an older sister and a younger brother. Amazing parents. And I think I grew up with the typical childhood, really. You know, I just did what I had to do to make it through school and eventually made it into college. And I really didn't want to go to Mount Vernon. It was basically anywhere but MVNU at that time, which is where we met, actually. So my sister had gone there, which was a big deterrent for me to go there. I didn't want to follow in her steps, but I ended up there because she had a great time there. She had a lot of good friends, a lot of good Christian influences in her life, which was something that I really wanted in a college experience because I didn't have great friends in high school. So they kind of led me down a path that I didn't want my life to go down.
Right.
And so getting around good influences, I knew I needed that in my life, and Mount Vernon provided that opportunity for me.
So what made you choose the major you did in college?
Well, believe it or not, I started off an education major. I thought I was going to become a history teacher and coach football. That was my goal coming out of high school. And God had other plans, I guess. After a semester, I switched my major, and I went a semester of kind of discovering what I wanted to do. And I've said, since everyone had asked me what I wanted to major in, I said, I don't know. Like, from the time I was like a freshman in high school, I was like, I don't know. I like people. I like to talk to people. And so eventually I was like, hey, I like to talk. Communications.
Yeah.
So it kind of ended up there, and I started there my sophomore year, so I missed that whole first year with the communications department.
Yeah.
And at MVNU, the communications department was really kind of like its own group.
It was. Yeah, it definitely was.
Very much, if you were included in the communications department, you were kind of accepted amongst that group. And so I was able to join that fraternity, maybe, I guess you could say, sophomore year. So that was a good transition.
Yeah. So what was like your favorite courses? What did you really take away from being there?
I don't know if I necessarily had a favorite course. I don't know. I did not like the gen eds, anything but math.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. What was your favorite?
Oh boy, I had anything that was video editing, because it came to me easy. It was just like, go to class, pick something you want to make a video out of, and then go do it, and then come back and edit it, and that was it.
So you like the freedom?
Yeah, because you didn't have to be in class. The class was going out and making the video, and that was easy. And then we had some courses with Joe that were fun. I just love Joe because he was so personal. Like, he went above and beyond, and there were other professors that wanted to be like him. Like, yeah, he was amazing. I don't know any other.
Yeah,
Those are my favorite.
I think anything with Joe would probably be up there.
He made
For
you
me.
like his classes,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
he made you want to do.
He
And I
also-
remember tons of people being like, I want to do well in his class because it's him, it's Joe.
You didn't want to let him down. I remember I was in a class of his, probably my junior year, and I overslept.
Mhm.
And he texted me
Yes.
and asked me where I was. So it was
Yeah.
like, I have to answer this text because he's my advisor. He's
Mhm.
controlling my college future.
Right.
I have to kind of respond to him. So he held you accountable in
That
that
part,
sense,
yeah.
which I don't think we do as much as a society these days,
Yeah.
is holding each other accountable.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I agree.
That's good coming from young people
Yeah.
to hear about accountability and that's something that you desire. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So talk to us about how did it feel when you graduated finally from Mount Vernon?
I think the feeling was definitely bittersweet, like
Uh-huh.
because the friends you made there,
Mhm.
you knew the friendships would last a lifetime, but you wouldn't see them every afternoon. You wouldn't see them every night
Mhm.
anymore. It'd be once a month maybe, or whenever you can get together. And so I definitely missed the friendships, but as far as the classwork and I was kind of like, let's move on.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to continue going
Um,
to like getting your master's, and which is kind of hard in communications.
yeah, it's possible. There's not a whole lot you can do with that.
Right.
It doesn't really benefit you a whole lot unless you
Mhm.
wanted to teach at like become a professor or something like that. So I did not continue. I guess
Mhm.
I was done. I was ready to, I guess, become an adult,
Mhm.
Oh.
because college to me was kind of, I was able to put off some adult responsibilities for
Like
3.5
what, man?
years.
Enlightenment. What do the children have to put off? What kind of responsibilities? As a father who paid for your child's college education, what that feel like? Is it stress, or cause did you get a full ride?
No,
You
I did
didn't.
not. I'm still paying back.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot of stress that
Mhm.
comes with the pressure we put on ourselves to perform well in the classroom a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like a lot of responsibilities such as like owning your own home or even renting, you had the cafeteria, so all our
Right.
meals were right there. We didn't cook. We didn't, I mean, the transportation wasn't really an issue. You just walked everywhere because it was so small.
Right.
So a lot of those responsibilities, and a lot of people didn't work while they were in college, so they
Right,
didn't have
right.
that added responsibility.
Yeah.
So you didn't go home a lot when you was in?
No,
Mount Vernon?
I did not.
You didn't. Did you drive?
I did have a car on campus, so
Oh.
but I think I went home once my senior year, and
the whole 4 years, or once your senior year?
once my senior year.
Oh,
I think
okay.
maybe once or twice a semester I'd probably go home. I just kind of stayed there because
Uh-huh.
weekends were like my time.
Okay.
My time to hang out with my friends. It was my time to do what I wanted to, because during the week I had a lot of responsibilities. I was working with the radio station, so we
Mhm.
had a lot of different things going
Oh,
on,
yeah.
and then on top of the classes every day. So it's not a lot of time during the week.
Cause you traveled
So-
with Joe, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. I was wondering, did I get them mixed up? The guys in there, did I get them mixed up? So how far is? You said you was from Pickwa, right? So how far is that from Mount Vernon? Is that
About 2 hours and 15 minutes.
about
so
2 hours and 15 minutes?
not that bad of a drive, but
Okay.
still a commitment if you wanted to go home.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
didn't feel
up
like
and
that.
back.
Right. Right. So you working now, right?
Yes, I am.
So how was you able to attain that job from, and how long did it take you?
So I graduated in December,
Mhm.
and I started looking for a job around January. I had a surgery after I graduated, so I kind of pushed that off. And then in January, I started looking. I started working part-time at my school district back home just to earn some money while I looked for a job. And then I actually started that job in July. And so I've been working there since July.
Okay. So you didn't have to worry about paying back loans and all that.
Well, I did.
You
But
did.
I'm living at home right now to
Okay.
save some money.
Right.
So I didn't have to worry as much. That's why I was working with the school district
Okay.
and making some money that
Okay.
way just to pay back the loans. And now that I'm working full time, I have some money for some other things. And
I just wanted to paint a picture of
yeah, so
what when they graduate now, what that looks like when you graduate, when you walk across that stage, the time frame from when you graduate to this to that right there. I just wanted to paint a picture and to sum it up and ask you, what do you say about people that say you shouldn't have to go to college now, or you shouldn't go to college, or it don't make no sense, it's not feasible, you know? What do you say to people? Talk to us about that.
I think there are more options out there than ever before for learning. So I don't know if necessarily like a 4-year school or a state school is good to go to, especially if you're not in the situation financially. And there's a lot of community colleges and online colleges where you can work and go to school at the same time.
Right.
And at the end of the day, a degree is a degree. Unless you're going to like Harvard or Yale, it doesn't much matter where you get it from.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of different options out there. I think taking out a substantial amount of debt to go to school could be an issue, especially if you don't know what you want to do.
Right.
And I just think there's so many options out there. I know I have friends who didn't go to school.
Right.
And they started working right out of high school and maybe a trade, like a skilled trade job, and they're living successful lives,
Right.
earning a good wage.
Right.
And so I just think there's so many different options. It really just depends on the person.
Did you have an option from your parents? Did you have an option? Were you going to go to college, or were you going to have to get a job, or?
I always knew I was going to go to college.
Oh, so you
both my
already knew.
parents graduated from schools, and it was definitely something I looked forward to doing.
Me too. Me too. Even though I didn't go, I still wanted, my child to go, and all of that. I understand exactly what you're saying. I still believe that. I was listening to a guy, and he was saying it's still the best place and the safest place for kids to go to make their mistakes. It's still, and to learn in a safe environment for the most part now. Now, I mean, I know the times and days we're living in now, and I believe that to be true, and hopefully they can learn and become what they wanted to become. Another thing I wanted to ask you, what do you say about people that talk about they can't get a job in their major? How is that? Is that, because I know it's true, but how can we make sense of that? How can we make it make sense to people in a major?
Yeah. I've definitely seen that where that people can't get a job in their major that they graduated from. And I think a lot of that goes toward our expectation as a recent graduate is we expect to get a job doing the high level position right away. A lot of times I don't think we're willing to take maybe a different job in a business that we know we could reach this job that we want to get to, but we aren't willing to take that first step of maybe not doing what exactly our major was, but we aren't willing to work towards something. We just think we should get that job right away. So I think the statistics might be skewed a little bit in the fact that we live in a world where we see everything on social media, online, of this is where you should be. Right. We have this expectation that I don't think a lot of generations ahead of us had necessarily of just everyone. And we can see what everyone is doing. So we compare ourselves to, hey, I got a buddy who's making $20,000 more a year than me. I'm failing at life.
Right.
And I think it's just a dangerous comparison world that a lot of graduates come from.
Yeah, that's true. We thought that we really wanted Michaela to, when she went into communications, we did not want her working outside of communications, because we knew a lot of people went to University of Cincinnati, all over the place, that majored in communications but was working in HR, and which didn't really make sense to me, but it did. It kind of, HR is kind of a little bit of communications, and we didn't know her minor. Did you know her minor?
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
She worked at Great Art Getaway.
Oh yeah.
What was her name?
I don't know her name.
You forgot her name, and she drove.
But I
the bus?
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that, and I still know people that work in HR.
That's
and are
that majored in
unhappy.
communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't want to be working in HR and do it longer than, there's what you were saying, like, using it as a stepping stone, something to do until you get the job you want. But then there's people who do it long term. Yeah, and never do what they want to do. So that is what gets me, is like, why did you stop there? But it happens for whatever reason.
So I want to ask you, Dan, what type of way, we're going back to college now that you're out, how do you think that college helped to prepare you for where you are right now, outside of you receiving your certificate? Because that's what you went for. So you decided, okay, I'm going to major in communications because I enjoy talking to people. But now, what am I going to do when I get out? Because we looked at it as like you have an opportunity to put into play what your parents taught you, because you're away from home. All of your timing, getting up, being responsible, and all of that. So how did you do maybe your first couple of years and then the last 2 years of your 4 years as a young adult?
Yeah, so I definitely think there's an adjustment period. Definitely. They say more people drop out within the first couple of weeks than ever at any time in their college career is that first couple of weeks, because a lot of people are away from home for the first time for an extended time.
Yeah.
They may have gone away for a weekend or something, but for several weeks in a row, that's the first time. And I think I really, I adjusted pretty well. It didn't really bother me. It was a lot of added responsibility, though, from high school. High school, there isn't a lot of responsibility there. But when you go away to college, it's your schedule. Like, it's, okay, I can schedule a class this early, but I might not wake up for it. So maybe I'll have to schedule it later in the afternoon. Right. So you get those options. And another part is learning how to surround yourself. I mean, you get to make choices about you for the first time, because I don't know, my parents made a lot of the choices for me before I turned 18. It's just the way it was, I guess. So they did a lot of things for me. Well, now if I ran out of toothpaste, I had to go buy toothpaste. So
that's real simple.
That happened, believe it or not. So
that's real simple.
It was like, I don't know which toothpaste to get, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and you have to, and coming from high school, like, I've known all my high school friends from the time I was like 5 years old, pretty much. I come into college, I knew not a soul on campus. So I was like, okay, I got to find someone to hang out with. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't hang out around with this person. He's a bad influence, so maybe I should spend more time around these people. So, and by the time you get older, you definitely are more comfortable with your friends. And doing laundry for the first time, that was an eye-opener.
Oh, boy.
Because I did not do laundry before I got to college, but now,
Dan.
I'll admit it. Yeah, I was one of those. So
it's crazy.
I was like, where does the detergent? That's what it's called.
Yeah. Where does it go? Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of, I guess, household stuff that my mom just took care of, and I now had to do myself.
You still doing it?
Still doing what?
Laundry.
Yeah, I do
Right
my
now?
own laundry these days. Even though I live at home. I'm carrying that over.
You still doing laundry? Damn.
Little
Yeah.
minor adjustments that you had to make. So now that you're out from college, you have graduated. What can you look back on that was a strength to you that you are using right now?
Yeah, I think one of the things college does is it teaches you how to learn. Because I think no matter what job you go into, it's not going to be exactly like what you learned in your classes in school. And so it teaches you how you learn best, because there may be times where you have to cram in a paper in not much time, and you really should have planned ahead of time to write this paper. So you have to learn, okay, how can I learn this and get this information conveyed as quickly as possible? And I think that's one of the things where it teaches you about yourself as much as you're learning, because you learn you learn best, and then whenever you get a job, you have to learn on the job, and you want to learn that as fast as you can to not be a failure at your job. So
Yeah.
I think that's where it teaches you the most, and obviously a lot of concepts were introduced that you didn't know before you went to school, and so but those can come and go. So I think the biggest thing for me, anyways, I can't speak for everyone, but it taught me how I learn best and how to learn for my future, because I think we have to continuously be learning no matter what we do.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So in that vein, is college a little bit like high school, where you're still teaching yourself in a lot of your classes? Say if you have a professor that's not that good at teaching, but he's still a professor nonetheless. So how is that? Is it the same as it is in high school? I don't know what public school system you went to, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Is college the same, or?
I think college is more of they steer you in the right direction of how you're supposed to learn. Okay, here's the material. Whether or not you study it, that's going to be your grade. It's up to you. Okay. Here's what you need to do it. And in high school, it kind of felt like they held your hand and guided you along. And I went to Piqua City Schools. It's a small little school district up in Piqua, so wasn't anything special. I mean, probably pretty average for a small town. But it just felt like there was a lot of pushing people, like herding kids along to the next grade. And I definitely think there was some of, okay, here's what you need in college. The transition, it definitely takes a little bit of here's what you need to do. Now you actually have to do it. We're not going to do this as a class. It's okay. You need to read for 2 hours. It's going to take you at least 2 hours to do all this work by the time we have our next class. That's up to you. And in high school, it didn't feel like that as much.
Some discipline.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How many kids were in Piqua?
How many
Your
kids?
graduating high school class?
I think we graduated with around 300.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
That's a nice size.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Piqua was what, about 20, 30, 40, 50,000?
Yeah, 25.
25,000? Yeah, that's
probably,
pretty
is that
big.
the only high school
It's
in
the
that?
only high school in our town.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the radius that the next high school would be?
I don't know. There's high schools on like 10 minutes each side.
Okay.
So a 10-minute drive
Yeah,
each
that's
side.
a nice
so.
size. Nice
Yeah.
size class for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
enjoyed
that's
it.
why we wanted to have you on here, so we can paint a picture of and discuss what college is, and now you in the workplace, and I know you glad you went now. I know you are, even though I always, like I said, I went to Urbana University, but as a matter of fact, I ended up going to 3 colleges. I went to one in California, and then my last college was, Columbus State. But it just got to be, because I was paying my way through all 3 of those schools. But, it was just embedded in us to go to school. But now, as time has changed, I see where they say that you don't necessarily got to go, but by all means, please be doing something, Dan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think, Michaela?
I agree. You should be doing something.
Be doing something.
I strongly believe in people who have nothing to do. It's just very detrimental for you, mentally and otherwise. You don't have something to do, everything falls apart. So, I don't know. I think you should always be involved in something. I'm gonna tell my kids to go to college, and I don't know how things will be by then, but like things may change and people may find other ways. Like right now we're in an era where a lot of people are entrepreneurs and starting their own businesses and owning things and not going to school for it or making money off of social media and things like that. So people are just finding ways around, and not necessarily taking the easy way out, but just finding other options. And it's amazing that people are like millionaires off of making YouTube videos and stuff like that, So,
it is
and that's great, but that's like everyone and how many people,
Right.
So, I still value education.
And everyone
the
thinks they're going to be that person.
Exactly.
Who makes
And
it
that's
big.
why it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
it's not, it's known that, you can be on Instagram and make money or be on YouTube or,
Oh, you can make money on
Facebook.
Instagram?
yeah, if you get like, if you have like a hair company or something, say you have a hair company, you sell wigs or something, that's really big.
Well, I didn't know.
you
I didn't know.
sell wigs on Instagram. You post all these pictures. Now, these people want you to show your followers their products. They sell hair products, or this company sells hair vitamins, or this company sells some oil or something like or other people who are starting a business want you to sponsor them. So then now you're making money because people want you to market or advertise or promote their brand. So you're basically making money off of, promoting. You're a promoter.
Right.
So people make money off of that. People in these YouTube couples make money, you know about things.
YouTube couple.
Yeah, people, just film their entire life on YouTube. All types of YouTube couples. There seems to be so many that people have like meet and greets because they're YouTube famous, and all the YouTubers will gather in like LA or DC or New York or Canada and have like a once a year conference for all the people who got famous off of YouTube.
Yeah.
But most of them came from Vine. I don't know if you remember when Vine was really popular. Vine.
They got rid of it. What happened?
What happened was Instagram and Twitter stole their idea. They stole the video idea. So, and again, like you said, how many people can make $1 million off of making YouTube videos? It's an idea and it's great to dream, but it's like, don't not go to school because you want to make $1 million off of, something that still very few people are doing. So to answer your question, I would definitely, still tell my kids to get an education, even if you think it's like a plan B, like you want to do something else but still have that degree. Or you think of people that I feel like it's not as popular now, but like people were going to the NBA or to NFL or something like that. But, how often, do you see that happen to kids? And some of them still finish degrees. I can think of rappers that are rich now, millionaires now, but still finish school.
Yeah.
That could still be doctors if they wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Or comedians that could still be doctors or lawyers if they wanted. So I think education is important either way.
Especially because let's not forget that in all that, you got to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Or you ain't going to have it.
Or one day you just want to do something different.
Stuff.
You have a degree.
You got to
fall
be
back
able
on.
to handle it. And if you ain't ready, and it's okay not to know what you want to do as far as your major goes in college, for a little bit.
Yeah.
At least you're there having a sense of accomplishment and doing something.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
something they can't take away from you.
That's
Once you
true.
have that degree, they can't
Man.
take
Right.
it away
Listen.
from you.
True.
It's
Yeah.
with you for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's what I was
So-
told all the way growing up. You get a
Mhm.
college education, they can never, ever take it away. Ever.
Well, and a lot of times it seems like a lot of people don't end up. They say over 50% of people don't end up in their major, whatever
Right.
they majored in. So, but it shows you finished something. You stuck
Yeah.
something through. That's
Yeah.
that's what I've been told from
Mhm.
older people
Yeah.
who have told me.
Older people.
Yeah, the
Older
we're watching
people.
you
Hey,
being
we
careful
are.
how you said that. We're okay.
Yeah. we 50. We 50. We in our 50.
We
I don't know if
embrace
you knew
it.
that.
They're
We
really only
embrace it.
Embrace
35.
it. We
35,
in our
yeah.
50s.
25?
Yeah.
You know.
We tell it.
You know.
52.
One of the things while y'all were talking, one of the things I do love about it is I believe both of y'all learned discipline. Do y'all agree with that?
Man.
I mean, because you got it.
Waking
If you
up,
don't have
period.
it, you gonna learn it.
It's so true.
If you
Mhm.
slothful, there's a word, slothful. If you slothful, all that it just works it all out to me, and discipline. And you learn repetitious stuff, man. Discipline is discipline, and it'll help you in the long run, even though you don't think it will.
Yeah, and I think Michaela probably knows this as well as I do, is there were a lot of people who did not have that discipline. I had a friend my
I know
freshman
them.
year who we had a biology class. It was 8:40 a.m. And I'd text him and I'd be like, "Where you at, man?" And he said, "I'm not going to make it today." Well, he didn't make it the next semester. He didn't come back because he
Yeah.
could not handle the discipline that it took.
And the hardest discipline is waking up.
You think so?
For me, it was because I can't even say why. It's just
Well, you don't drink
It's
coffee
pure-
or caffeine.
that's
do you?
true.
I do. I drink too
But-
much.
but
He's a coffee drinker.
Oh,
Yes,
that's what
he
you like,
is.
coffee.
Yes, he
You
always
have a
had
cup
coffee.
coming down here?
What?
You had a cup coming down?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he's
I had
a
a cup
coffee
this
drinker.
morning.
Oh, did
yes.
you?
Love coffee.
It's
I used
hard
to
just
drink
to
it
wake
straight
up
black.
because it's like
Mm-hmm.
that 8 a.m.
Uh,
You don't want to go to that 8 a.m. And they always had 8 a.m.s that were like math or science. And you think like, when you're planning your classes, you're always like, why did I do this?
Well, I think our major was so small, they only offered classes at certain times that you needed.
Which
so,
was literally
I had-
the middle
you
of the
ha-
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so your middle of the day was filled with the classes that you had to
Loved,
take.
Yeah.
And so then they'd schedule the classes that you don't want to take, but you're kind of
That or
I mean,
either
for
in
your
the
back
morning.
for your arts degree.
Yeah.
We
They're
went to
either
a
in the
Christian
morning
school.
or the gen eds were like in the morning or like 6 at night, 5-ish, like
I never did
4, like maybe a 3. But the middle of the day was always, you were right. That's true.
So I think that was part of it is we had to take some classes that we didn't necessarily want to
You're
take.
doing something you don't want to do.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
I think just as a human being, it's like the reputation of I'm still here 2 years later. Like I still have to keep going to class to get this degree. Like, and just letting that sink in sometimes. Like, and I see people always on social media, like sometimes you just wake up and you're like, is this degree worth it?
Yeah.
And I mean that sometimes people really have to ask themselves like, but then in the long run it's like waking up is not that hard, or the repetition isn't that bad, especially when you're doing it because you found a passion in something you're doing and it's just not a field that you're good at and you're skilled at, but you have no heart for it, so that helps too.
Well, and I think then by the time you reach your junior and senior years, which are usually the most difficult of your career, a lot of your classmates. Like we could walk into a class and I
That's
knew at
true.
least 90% of the
Yeah.
people in that class.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
especially in our major, you'd probably know 100% of the people.
Mhm.
And so it was like you wanted to go to see them every
Mhm.
day. So that was more motivation there too. And I don't know if you did this, but I definitely did this, is I knew how many credits I had till I had graduated.
Mhm.
It's like, 50 more, I can do this.
Mhm.
Okay, 40 more, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like it was just, a finish line, because I like to accomplish a goal and then it's like it's done, and I like to count it down. So there was like, okay, we're almost there. We're better than last semester. It was like 15 more credits. Let's go.
Yeah.
Did you get homesick?
Never.
Jeez.
You didn't get homesick, huh?
I did not.
Did you call them?
Sometimes my mom would like to say I didn't call enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You ain't a mama's boy.
Probably not.
You don't think so?
He said probably not.
If you let them listen to this, you know, your mom and dad.
My younger brother, he's a mama's boy, like he is, and then my sister, she's like a daddy's girl, and so it's like I'm the middle child. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something about the middle
But I
children.
love them both.
though.
I do. I truly
The middle
do.
children are strong, though. I'm a middle child, too. At least
Yeah.
that's what they say. If you ever did any studies on your placement in a family.
I've seen them, and there's a book. Did you know that? There's
It's
a
a
book.
book?
It's like a psychology book.
I
One of
can't
my
remember
friend's
the
moms
guy
got it for
called.
me for Christmas.
Oh, really?
On the effects of being a middle child.
You know the author? I can't remember his name. He used to be on Focus on the Family all the time. You ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, y'all did. I forgot y'all
Every
had that on
day.
there. This guy, I want to say it's Kevin somebody. He was an older man. He used to come on. This was back in with James Dobson was still on there. But I can't remember his name. Anyway, he wrote a book and he talked about that exact thing, or where you fell in line at as far as the middle child, the oldest, the baby, and all of that right there. Yeah, I'm a middle child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Oh.
No, I can't.
Yeah, I'm a middle child, man. Yeah. They supposedly they're self-sufficient. They're able to they can be in a crowd. They don't have to necessarily be with anybody. They don't need a lot of attention. You see yourself in that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you? You know, everything is, because you're not the oldest and you're not the baby. Pretty well balanced people. At least that's what that guy was saying on Focus on the Family. It was excellent, man, and I soaked all that up, to try to see where I fit at, and everything's okay. Okay, everything was okay. So you think you learned something, man?
Yeah, I always like to learn. I like to talk to people and know, because I think everyone's experiences shape who they are. And like, I've known Michaela for a while, but obviously this is the first time meeting her parents, and so you can kind of see how she gets who she is from you guys.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool to see that, I guess, for me, because I don't know, I overanalyze things. I'll be honest. I like to see
Is that right?
people's background, because I think it tells a lot about them.
Oh, she didn't want to go to college.
I
We had to
believe
make
that.
her
I
go.
didn't want to go
No.
to college.
What does she want
And
to do?
Just
what
be
do
up
I want
under
to
us.
do?
Stay
I
home.
like being around them.
And she's a
Yeah.
female. She's a girl.
And she's the
So,
only child.
She's the only child. So
So
yeah,
how
we-
do you choose Mount Vernon out of all the schools?
Do you really want to know?
You really
Um,
I don't even know. Should it be on TV? Oh, I was curious.
on TV. You are, well, basically.
I'll keep it simple. A friend at the time knew she wanted to go there.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't. I applied, or did I take a tour? I think I applied and then took a tour. They let me in because I think it was late, late admission stuff. Like, I was late. So they just let me in. I didn't even have to write like a personal statement, and I did anyway, but because I was just weird to me, like I wanted to write one. So I took a visit. I was like, I love this place. It's so nice. Everyone's nice. And I just went, and that was that. It was something I knew I had to do, so I did it. I didn't really have typical college story. I did look at other colleges, like, in the Columbus area, but
Chicago too.
Chicago,
That was
yeah,
off
and
the
New
hook.
York.
In New
And
York.
New
Yeah,
York.
Chicago's wild. Yeah, that was
Where
not
do you go in Chicago?
Columbia.
Ooh.
It was an experience.
You ever heard of that
It
school?
was an experience.
You ever been
nice.
It was real
No,
artsy.
I've never been to Columbia. Been to Chicago, but not Columbia.
there? Man.
Beautiful city.
It is a
Yeah.
nice city.
About New York. You like New York?
I've only been there once, and
What part?
we went to Manhattan. And we stayed in Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
Then we went to, we explored
Okay.
Brooklyn and that area.
Okay. It wasn't for you.
No, I'm more of a small town.
Yeah, you small town. Yeah, you would probably like that. I'm sure.
Too many people.
It is a
I
lot
I
of
love people, but that is a lot of people.
And a lot of rope. Did you happen to see one of them walk up and shake your hand?
The rats
you
are
really?
big. They're big like cats.
They're huge
Oh
down
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
They were big.
big rodents. These are
Mm,
rodents.
They were eating good.
Yeah, they were.
They were eating good.
They were.
They were. They eat all the trash. They were all in the trash
a lot of
cans and on
trash
the
there.
subways.
What season did you go? Was it warm when you went?
Yeah, I went in the fall, so
Okay.
it was still warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we went in April, didn't we? I think we were there in April.
So how you liking your job now that you graduated and you got a job? Because we named it the podcast Transition with Dan Monnin.
Monnin.
Monnin. See, I should have let you say it.
You're all right.
So you liking your job?
Yeah, I like the schedule of it. I know when I have to be there. I know about what time I'll be able to go home. I mean, every day is different, but you kind of know what you're doing that day, and you set a list of responsibilities. This is what I need to take care of, and then I just do it. And
Cool.
so I definitely like the schedule, because for a while there, it was kind of like, well, what am I going to do today? I don't know. So it was. I definitely like knowing what I'm going to do, and knowing when I'm going to go home, and I like that aspect of it. And I do get to talk to people. I talk to a lot of people on the phone, and a lot of people come into our office, and I get to sit down with them one-on-one in person, which is definitely a benefit of the job for me as someone who likes to talk to people. So I enjoy that aspect of it too.
So you in Dayton?
No, I'm in a small town called Greenville, Ohio.
Greenville.
So it's by Piqua.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Probably never heard of it.
Okay. Well, man, y'all got any more questions for Dan?
I don't.
Man, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Yes.
Golly, man, we sure enough appreciate you being on here, man.
Great.
And congratulations, man,
Yes.
Thank
on
you.
sticking it out, going, and everything that you did, and because friends are not easy to get, and just thanks for being a friend. You know what I mean? Thanks for coming down here and doing this for us, man. And once again, the door is wide open. Anytime you want to come on, you got something, to share with people out, and the people we talk to. By all means, you're more than welcome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Listen, y'all. Y'all can reach us on YouTube.com. Type in the Hughes Roundtable and hit video. And we'll be on there, and you can hear our episodes. I think we're running on about 26 now. This probably will be our 26th or 27th. Subscribe. Thank you for all the subscribers that we've had thus far.
Thank you.
We sure do appreciate it. And say your name again.
Dan Monnin.
Do you want people to get in contact with you?
Sure.
Well, give them your information.
All right. So if you would like to talk to me, probably the best way to reach me is email danmonnin18@gmail.com.
Yeah,
And
y'all.
spell it out for me.
Okay, so that's DANMONNIN 18@gmail.com.
Yeah, because some
Right.
people don't want to be reached. They want to be incognito. Don't be emailing me, and don't be texting me. Don't be doing
Incognito.
nothing.
We can cut that email out. No.
They got it on there. Michaela, edit that out.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
We
y'all
appreciate
again.
you.
We appreciate all our listeners, and y'all have a blessed day. Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Everybody ready?
Yes.
Everybody.
We must be one.